Hello again. Although I do not myself drive, I cannot help but notice that in some mysterious way, driving seems to have become immensely annoying and time consuming over the last few years, far more than it used to be. I travel in cars driven by other people, and I also have eyes in my head and a watch on my wrist, so I know how long it takes to get from A to B. I know that journeys by road, whether in a private motor car or by buses in cities or coaches along motorways, take a lot longer than they used to. The fact that the roads in many districts are falling apart, have huge potholes in them which nobody makes any effort to fix, is something which many people have observed. This has the effect of slowing down traffic because nobody wants to knock out their tracking or shake passengers up or cause serious damage to the vehicle which they are driving. This is compounded by the fact that even when the roads are in a good condition, there are ludicrously low speed limits, such as 20 miles an hour rather than 30. On motorways, including the M25 around London, it's common now for the speed limit to be reduced from 70 to 50 or even lower. Often these restrictions appear random and seem to have been imposed for the sake of it. It's a very rare journey now between cities where people are able to travel at 70 miles an hour all the way along the motorways. Lanes of the motorways will be closed for 3 or 4 miles by lines of cones, with nobody working there. They're just a fact of life. Again, the effect is to slow down traffic. In cities, there are low traffic neighbourhoods which have the same effect. All these little things add up, and so a journey which took 3 hours a couple of years ago now takes 4 or 5. Then there are little tricks by which councils make matters worse by closing down car parks and building on them. This is becoming quite a common trick. London Transport is selling off car parks at tube stations to property speculators, and this means more congested streets and slower traffic as commuters cruise around suburban streets looking for somewhere to park. Then there's a drive towards electric cars, the result of which will be to make cars a luxury item which only the well-to-do will be able to afford to buy or run. Don't even get me started on the ULEZ in London, which is another of those grotesque things which seem to have been imposed against the will of most people. Of course, I also travel about by public transport, and if investment were being made in that so that there were more buses and trains were cheaper, then I can see the sense, perhaps, in penalising motorists. That isn't the case, though. Travelling by train is grotesquely expensive, and bus routes being cut all over the place. Public transport is no longer reliable. The consequence of all this is that people are discouraged from travelling, except on foot or by bicycle. It's almost as though it's been decided that people should stay at home as much as possible, only venture out to work. In effect, all these things add up to a creeping lockdown, whereby we are suddenly encouraged not to move more than a mile or so from our home. It's like the old wartime poster, is your journey really necessary? And this is, of course, where the 15-minute city, so called, comes into the picture.